Hello, and welcome to Workshop 8. Today we are talking about a brilliant career move that I kind of made consciously, but it actually turned out to be really great. This was about 24, 25 years ago, and honestly, I have used it every day since. It is something that I come back to again and again and again. And it's especially useful if you are feeling stuck, you are feeling like you're not quite finding your rhythm and you need something tangible. You don't just want somebody to say, just think positively. This is very much an action-based workshop. So grab a piece of paper and a pen and let's get going. If we are meeting for the first time, of course, here is my slide, as always, that I share. I'm aware that lots of you come back again and again, but if we are meeting for the first time, I work in the personal brand space. I also have been building a personal brand for the last 25 years, and I love that sweet spot of activating your personal brand and illuminating. So finding that connection with it, finding your why, and then really shining a light on it. If you like these kind of workshops, of course, you can get more. You can find all of the free ones on my watch page. Just go to my website, nikkieraby.com. Or if you want some longer workshops, there is a menu that you can dig into. It's just nikkieraby.com/workshops. Okay, let me set the scene. Here I am, fresh as a daisy, with a very wonky fringe. This was my first professional headshot. And I'm going to set the scene for you. This was summer 2001. I was between my second and my third year at drama school. And during that year, I had had a lot of family change. I'd had a lot of illness. I was bedbound for about 3 weeks. And that really was not in keeping with where I should have been in my second year at drama school. Anyway, that summer, instead of going home and to where I grew up and working in the local pub and just kind of, having a couple of hours a week and then sitting around for the rest of the time, I decided to stay in London. Now, we were renting a house, four of us all together, and we could do that because there was no student union. It was a private drama school that we went to. So we had this house for the summer anyway, and we didn't want it laying empty. And we really thought, actually, or I really thought, why don't I stay here? Why don't I see if I can find a job in London? And this honestly was one of the best moves that I've ever made because going into my third year at drama school, I was so ready to step things up. And what actually happened was I started my third year. I had a successful third year. I got an agent from my West End showcase and I got two jobs back to back, which meant I left 5 months early. And this was a strategic move. This is the first, I guess, takeaway I want to share with you, is you have to claim it. You have to say, right, I am ready and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to put myself in the room strategically, energetically. And so what I did was I went and I got a very glamorous job, not in a West End theatre, Mamma Mia, the Prince Edward Theatre, and I was selling ice creams and programs. Was that my lifelong dream? Absolutely not. But it taught me so much. It gave me that opportunity to understand the whole 360 experience, what it's like to work with an audience, what's going on, how it all moves together, how you put on a show in that kind of space. And as somebody who was at drama school, we had very much been just focusing on ourselves, the actor, what we're all about, what we're doing. And I want you to see how you can use this example in your own life. And I think that sometimes when we are running our own personal brands, we can really just well, I guess we have to be as well. We can be quite obsessed with ourselves, what we're doing, what's happening, and we're really zooming in on ourselves. And this is the first takeaway I want you to look at is how can you zoom out? And not just into your industry. How can you zoom out into the world? What's happening? What's going on? How are things moving? What's changed? What is happening in the world? So instead of going, oh, I put a piece of content out today and it only got 3 likes. I wonder why that is. Really zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. The second thing I did was I really understood the structures of what was going on. So I was interacting with audience members every single night. I was understanding the tone, the process. Bear in mind, we'd had 9/11 very recently. That was very prevalent in the theaters. People were very nervous and uncomfortable, and yet they wanted to be there in the room. Understanding the process, the kinds of people that were there, the questions that people were asking, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the audience behavior. So much. I love working online. I love the ability to be able to take my laptop and make it happen wherever I am in the world. However, we must never lose, if it's possible for us, that in-person scenario where we can really see what's going on, what's happening in the air, what's the conversation, what's going on in that human interaction. I did so much people watching. So when I was in that job, so many people were drama graduates and they were out there in the professional world. So they were on their phone to the agents. We weren't really on email at that point or social media. So it was very palpable when somebody was like reading a script, they weren't reading it on their phone. They had a printout from a printer and they were saying, look, can you read that? And I'll read this. Or it was very in the physical. And I begun to listen out for the conversations, the hierarchy, the dynamics, the customers, the experience, how people were moving through the world. If you are stuck in your business, in your personal brand right now, I want you to think of the area which is the part which is slowing things down. Maybe this is naturally something that you feel you're weaker at, or it doesn't come naturally, or it's something you just don't want to do and you don't enjoy, you don't like, or maybe it's just you'd rather be doing other things. And then you have that realization of like, oh, do I have to do that? Okay, fine. Understanding all of those parts is so, so crucial. So, if you want to earn more money, for example, it is your responsibility to look out for those people who have a lot more money than you and work out how they're moving. What are they doing? How are they signing off emails? What's the speed of their response? How are they dressing? How are they introducing themselves? How do they talk about their business? All of these elements will get you closer rather than just sitting there and manifesting and hoping and wishing and praying like, I really like more money. I'd really like more money. Sometimes there are actual actions we can take to move us forward. The fourth thing I did was I really absorbed and processed the finding and the data of what was going on. And I had a moment where I felt like I was borrowing all of this information, whether it was a line of how somebody spoke to their agent, or it was the way that they set up their morning routine, because we were all working in the afternoons and evenings. And one woman, for example, was really disciplined. She was like, yeah, so even if I'm working like late in the evening, I get up at 9, I go and train and I do this and I do a class and I make sure I do these 3 things. Or even watching like the kinds of big water bottles that people had. It was so, so interesting. Now, another thing that can happen in this process is this cheeky little pesky nuisance of a thing comparison might come up. And it might try and tell you that you're not there, you're behind, you can't do it yet, you don't know what you're doing. I want to remind you here to be on your timeline. Don't be in a rush. And instead of thinking about all the places and the spaces where seemingly you are behind on your terms, I want you instead to put the focus on what you're learning, what you're pulling in, and really acknowledge it. And in your head, go, oh, brilliant. Thank you for that belief. Thank you for showing me it's possible. Thank you for that evidence. Thank you for that knowledge. Thank you for that conversation. Thank you for that shortcut. And that switch really turns down the volume of the, but I can't, all that stuff that is going on. The final thing that I have done for the last 25 years is I make decisions. I really think about the alignment, I think about creating boundaries, and I think about taking action. And I allow myself to be in a position where it is okay to make mistakes. And this is very prevalent in my house. I have a 10-year-old and I have a 6-year-old. And when they do something wrong, sometimes they might go, I'm so sorry, I won't do it again, because they just want to shift that moment on. Like, no kid likes that moment. We've all felt it as well, where it's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. However, if you have that reflection, if you have that understanding, why did that happen? What am I going to do? How do I rework this? How do I reframe this? It will get you there much quicker. And too many people are stuck in their head. They're overthinking, they're going round and round in circles, they're spiraling, they're saying, what if? They're weighing up the pros and cons, but never moving forward in the process. I would love you to think today what you're going to do next, where you need to make a decision, where something has like been on, it hasn't gone on the blue tick yet, like it's humming in the background, and you need to read it and you need to action it and you need to move with it. I remember when we were buying our house, we very much had that working timeline of tasks. It's like, okay, we've done this, this, and this. Now we move to the next stage. And now we do this, this, and this. And if it all goes well, we go to the next stage. This is how we have to see our progress, our goals, because there is no outside force coming and going, okay, here's where you should be in the next 3 months. This is all about our own journey. So we need to take that time and really think about, okay, where do I want to be? And actually being in that room, I thought, okay, once I'm graduated, this space is not where I want to be. I don't want to be selling programs. I don't want to be selling ice creams. And as useful it has been to be in this environment of conversation now, whilst I'm still training, once I graduate, this doesn't feel like a fit for me, because actually there were so many people who were complaining, who were stuck, who were saying it was a bit rubbish. The energy was really low. And you saw these people 8 times a week. There were 8 shows a week. You couldn't hop in and out. You had to commit to all 8 shows. So have a think about what you need today. And if you would like help and support, come over to my strategy session page. You can book them as singles, as doubles, as monthly, as VIP days, whatever you choose. If you're not sure what you need and you want to set up a chat first, just send me a message via my website. In the bottom right-hand corner, there is a button. If you click on that, it opens a messenger and it comes directly to me. Finally, if you know that you are ready for some mega moves and you're ready to really track your progress, to be intentional about your next move, the 100 Club could be great for you. It stops that dabbling energy, or when I feel like it energy. You know, when you're kind of in and you're doing it and then something, you don't have a great day and then you're off and then you're on again. We look at the next 100 days. And even if you do your 3 out of 10 version on all of those 100 days, my goodness, you're going to make so much progress. There is a one-to-one version of this, and there is also a DIY version. So if you know that you're ready to take your personal brand to the next level, send me a message and check out my Work With Me page. Thank you so much for watching, for coming along. As usual, I will see you tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed to the playlist, please do so. The episodes go live every single morning, and I'd love to see you here again. If you've got any requests of things you would like me to cover, please let me know. I am all ears. And also, if you want to make some mega moves, just send me a message. We can set up a call and talk about the options. Lots of love, and I'll see you tomorrow.